absolutely hated it. Like, you never hear the end of the complaint.
And that's just not how it's going to be.
Hello and welcome to Keeping Up with Consecutives, a series where we're going to talk to some experienced people in the education program, maybe even others in the education program that aren't consecutive. I don't know, I haven't decided yet. So today we are joined by two teacher candidates in their first year. Who do we have today?
Mattea
And Ellen.
I want to talk about some classes, some practicum, and then maybe some vibes about the program. So I guess starting with Mattea,
Okay.
Where do you hail from and why did you apply to Brock?
I come from Thorold. I come from Brock area.
That's far.
Yeah, I know. 5 minutes down the road. I came from a long way. Why did I apply to Brock? I didn't want to move away. I did my undergrad here. I didn't want to learn a whole new campus. I knew the online system like that Brock works with. I just didn't want to. I wanted to make it as easy as possible for myself throughout the college. So I just reapplied here. I applied to other places, but I did end up going with Brock. So.
Yeah, because you did your undergrad here.
I did.
In what, again?
Kinesiology.
Kinesiology. You know all the bones.
I do. Maybe not every single one right now, but
Awesome.
a good chunk.
Awesome. Helen, where do you hail from?
I'm from Mount Forest. It's a really small town, kind of out like Guelph direction. I did my undergrad and my master's degree at Guelph, but then I decided to come to Brock because I'd been living in St. Catharines for a couple years. My partner grew up here, so we've been here for a little while now, and teaching was a second career choice for me. I liked that I didn't have to relocate again. I also applied to Queens, but I was like, if I get into Brock, that's where I'm gonna go.
Nice.
So, yeah.
What was your first career option?
Museum curator.
Museum
Wow.
Yeah.
Like Night at the Museum style?
Yeah, so I have, I got my master's degree in art history, and I took like a year and a half to kind of think about what I wanted to do. It was either going to be education or it was going to be a PhD in museum studies. But ultimately I decided I liked working with kids more, and here I am. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
All of us obviously got accepted. There was a lot of people that applied. I believe Carolyn said in one of our first classes, one of our profs said we're one of like 2% or 5% that got in. So give me the night. Give me a visual of that night you got accepted. Start with Ellen this time.
Okay.
Oh God, it probably wasn't I was probably just at home. I was working from home. I probably just got an email that was like, hey, congratulations. I don't think I actually did anything super special to celebrate. Sorry. But I was thrilled because I was like, if I don't get into teachers college, I don't really know what direction I'm going in from here. And I had already spent a year and a half trying to figure things out. So, which like in the grand scheme of things, it's not that long. But I didn't want to have to spend more time figuring out what I wanted to do either. I just wanted to start on the next thing. So there wasn't like a huge, big celebration, but I was very excited to have like the next thing that I was working towards be clear to me. Yeah.
Mattea, let's get a visual on that magical night.
Okay, let me paint a picture. I remember it because it was in early-ish afternoon when I opened the email. I let it stew in my inbox for a while. I did
could
not
never.
wanna open it. I was really nervous. I knew that the acceptance rate was so small. I was a little bit worried. And then I opened it, and then my mom gave me a hug, and then I went to work that day. I do remember going to work that day. I don't think I did anything to celebrate, but I was pretty stoked. I was worried, so.
I saw Brock University Teachers Education. I opened it immediately. I did not let it stew
in there. I was like, nope, I don't want to do that right now.
I was on Reddit. Do you ever go on the Reddit for like Brock consecutive stuff, like to look up information
No.
about it? There was this whole like Reddit thing about, I think it was like Canadian teachers. And I talked to Gracie and Pierce. They were all over it. I was all over it.
Really?
People were posting like on this mega thread, like if they got in and if they heard when the date was. And then so we determined it was rumored to be February 1st. So March 31st at midnight, I was like refreshing my Brock portal on repeat. And then it said I was in. And I was like, let's go. We're in. No more stress. I don't have to go to Nipissing.
Yeah.
Nothing that's bad. Let's get into the classes. Thoughts on the classes? Any standouts? Any standout profs?
Ooh, shout
Go
out,
with,
shout out Joe and Dean. Obviously, I think I'm probably the first person that you've spoken to who has them as their advisors.
Yes, because all the rest of
Yeah.
us are in the.
Yeah, you're in the different cohort. No, they are incredible. They make 8 a.m. classes a lot easier to get through. I feel like I absolutely gained the most like practical insight for this job from them. So no complaints. I love them so much. They're such cuties.
They are pretty cute. They are a very adorable little pair. I'm going to go back to last semester and give Caroline a shout out. She was amazing. I liked the way that she ran the course, especially because it's a 3-hour course. So if you don't do it properly, I feel like you don't really, doesn't go anywhere. But I feel like she did a good job giving us resources and actually getting us to do stuff that was fun while we still like learned about the curriculum and stuff. So I liked her method.
Yeah,
very
like
much.
she wasn't our advisor, but she could have
She
been.
could have been.
Yeah.
And she would have made a great advisor. Yeah.
You could feel like she was rooting for you like a mom would.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yes, she's like, you guys are gonna do great in your
Yeah.
practicum.
Yeah.
She was like, don't
Send
worry.
Yeah. Speaking of practicum, how was the practicum? Gracie got sent off to 2 different places. Mattea, how was your practicum?
I loved my placement very much. I was nervous about getting a grade 7 and 8 class because I was like, oof, I don't know grade 7 and 8 math very well right now. So we figured that out as we went. But I was at a really small school in Stevensville. Gracie was also in Stevensville. She was in a public school and I was in a Catholic school. It was super small, which made it a lot less intimidating for a first placement. My AT was great. He was super funny. The kids loved him, so he was a good person. I always knew that he would be in a good mood and he let me teach. Like he didn't like I was worried that I would get like a very controlling teacher who would just never really let you do anything, which is fine if you're that way. But I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't get as much freedom, but I did. And it was great. So.
Yeah, my AT, she was very much try out what you think will work, see if it works. Maybe like, I'm however many years old. She was like 40 years old, something. She's like, yeah, maybe stuff works for you that doesn't work for me. Maybe it's vice versa. But you just got to figure out what works for you. For example, I wanted to do a virtual day book, but all of her stuff was physical and the whole class was kind of physical based. Like there wasn't much Chromebook, like they used Chromebooks, but it wasn't very like maybe one period a day. Every other day they were using Chromebooks.
Wow, they used Chromebooks in my class like for everything, pretty much like everything. And they were like lucky, I guess, that each kid had a Chromebook. But
That's so nice. We had
extras.
we had like 10, I think, and we would share it amongst the other intermediate classes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we couldn't rely on the Chromebooks.
We were lucky with the resources. It was a really small school, but they had like it was so nice. Like they had lockers that were brand new. They just had a new gym. Like it was a really nice school, even though it was small. Like, I had a lot of funny moments with the kids in my class. I had a lot of good personalities to work with. One kid was just so outgoing, and so he loved to move and everything. And we were doing basketball because it was basketball season, and he would always do like pirouettes in the gym before throwing his basketball. It was just, he was so fun because he was just like free doing whatever he wanted. Everyone else was playing basketball, and he was like doing pirouettes. It made me giggle.
Any like standout learnings, I guess?
Don't say guys.
Don't say guys.
Don't say guys.
say
For the love of God, don't say guys.
Don't say guys.
Don't say yeah either.
Don't say yeah. It's improper. You need to say yes. That was a big thing that I didn't think should have been so big. I personally think guys is very inclusive and unisex, but apparently it's not. So
Yes.
Yeah, don't say guys.
And we've been told that from multiple sources.
Multiple people,
Yeah.
I know.
So it must have been a.
My AT didn't mind. Like he never said anything. But yeah.
I feel like it's such a common piece of just like informal English vernacular.
is.
Like I don't even notice it when other people say it, but whatever. I'll try my best
I'm
to
gonna move
filter it out.
towards
Yeah,
folks.
y'all.
No.
We'll go back in time. All right. When we were done our I guess Ellen, did you talk about your practicum?
No, I haven't yet.
Ellen, how about your
haven't
practicum?
I also loved my practicum so much. I was also in a 7-8 class in Welland, and I was also a bit nervous about intermediate because I thought that I wanted to do something in the younger end of junior. I really wanted a grade 4 class because I wanted to be able to plan for really fun, creative activities. But I was like, I will make it work, and I think I actually want to teach older now. I had such a good experience with that age group. They were just like such a good group of kids. I got to work with all the intermediates in the school because we did Rotary, but my class was so special and so kind. Yeah, I loved every single one of them. And it makes me a little bit nervous because everyone says that you have one placement you really love, and then one that's just okay and one that you hate. So it makes me a little nervous for my next one because I feel like that's at a very high bar. And then my AT was also phenomenal. She was 4 years older than me. We had a lot of fun together. She got her teaching degree young, so she had like some real experience under her belt. And yeah, we just had a lot of fun together. And she was very much like, this is your experience. I want to let you have as much opportunity to instruct and to lead as possible because you're here for a short time. Yeah, like I have no complaints. It was great, the whole thing.
Was there anything you had to like unlearn at all and like relearn?
I did find myself sometimes like defaulting into how we got taught in school. And then needing to pull myself out a little bit and be like, no, like make this more about like let them kind of guide their learning, and it doesn't need to be so by the book. Be a little bit more flexible with it, pivot as they need you to. So like, I don't know that was unlearning, I guess so, but I did have to get around that learning curve a little bit.
I had to unlearn how to write in cursive, I guess.
Same.
I write in cursive, like it's like a 90 cursive percent, like it's a little mixed, but they couldn't read cursive writing, and like they would practice a couple times. They didn't practice every day or anything, but they absolutely hated it. Like you never hear the end of the complaints when I made them do cursive writing, but when I was writing like stuff on the board, or when I was like writing stuff on their assignments and stuff, I was like, they're not going to be able to read this. So I had to unlearn cursive so that they could read my writing. I
made up my own kind of cursive style because we learned it in grade 3. So I'm just like, I do my own. Like, it's not by the books or anything, but I would write that and they would somehow understand my makeshift cursive more than my actual writing that I would write on the board. I had my kids give me feedback at the end and they were like, oh, if we could read your writing, you would be excellent or something. Like something like that.
That's so
but
funny.
yeah, learning how to, it's like, oh my God. Like I actually learned stuff in the classroom. It's like I'm in a grade 7 classroom. I probably needed to catch up on this stuff and remind myself.
I did have to catch up on the math because that was also the area where I definitely felt the least confidence in teaching. And yeah, I did have to sit down and be like, what is the Pythagorean theorem again?
What's a fraction?
Yeah.
Not that much, but still.
Yeah.
All right, so after our practicum ended, we get sent back into the classroom. We do 12 weeks of class, and then we do 8 weeks of practicum, and then we go back. Right now, we're in our 12 weeks of class. I think we're in week 5 or 6. 7 more to go. How are we feeling about 12 more, or I guess 7 more weeks, but 12 more weeks of classes after the practicum?
This semester is a little bit rough. I feel like the first semester was a lot of fun because it was our very first semester, and the classes were fun, and we were just kind of hanging out. And then we went into practicum, and then we came back, and now it just feels like, ooh, I want to go back to the classroom. Like, I don't want to be here for these classes. Very much.
You find you more
as much as I wanted.
You find you more specific in what you're like trying to learn from the classes now.
Yes.
Like you can easily tune out what will be applicable, what will not be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like it's a little bit difficult to be engaged in everything that's taught to me because, and like my AT said this to me, she's like, Teachers College is going to sell you an ideal. They're going to show you videos of scenarios where everything goes perfectly and there's no kids who are disrupting the lesson and blah, 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 blah. And that's just not how it's going to be. And so having the experience of actually being in a placement and then coming back and hearing them be like, you should be doing this and doing this. I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't always work that way. So it has been harder for me to buy into some of the ideals that they want us to sell. But in terms of like, how do I make learning better for students? That is definitely still what I'm most engaged with. Yeah,
fun. Like I love it when they give like our exceptional learners course. I love how she gives us all these like resources, like for all the days of significance and stuff. Like it's just like that's what I like about it. Like giving me stuff that I can actually use in the classroom one day.
Everything from that course I'm taking.
Everything.
With
Everything.
Rona?
I've been
Everything.
making copies of every single PowerPoint that she's given us and
Yep.
saved them. Like, even like the spreadsheets that she's been, like, it's just...
I've actually
It's great.
started like a classroom strategies list too, and with the little things she does with like our participation goals on the name tag and stuff for
Yeah,
each
I love
class.
that.
I'm just stealing all these little ideas because they are so applicable to actual practice. Yeah.
Speaking of the classes, we got a lot of people in the classes. How would you describe the overall community that we got in consecutive education here?
This isn't like an adjective, but like I love how close everyone has gotten. I feel like I've met way more people in this program than I did in my previous two.
Same.
And I guess it's because we travel between classes together, but everyone's just so nice, which makes sense because we're here to be teachers, and I feel like you don't choose to work with kids if you're not a somewhat friendly
Yeah.
person. But everyone's just been so friendly and easy to get to know. Yeah.
How would you describe the group of everybody in one word?
I'm leaning towards eclectic.
Collective. Mattea?
I don't know. I need to think of a word too. I want to say very like everyone is so friendly. It's not like I thought it would be a little bit more difficult to like get to know people and like make friends and stuff, but it's been the total opposite. So which was nice. It was refreshing.
Yeah. How many people did a podcast with their people in undergraduate?
Zero.
Zero.
Nobody's ever done before. Just this one. This is the
Just
only
this
one.
only
Groundbreaking.
podcast,
Trailblazers.
Exactly. We got so much personalities in here. We gotta get to know all of them.
Yes.
All right. And then when our classes are done, we go home and we chill. During practicum or during classes, what were some coping strategies, some mental health strategies that you used to kind of get through the program, get through the day in your practicum, manage your stress, emotions? Mattea, what did you do, if anything?
Deep breathing for difficult times. I need breaks. I can't sit in like for our classes, like I can't sit there for 3 hours and like you lose me after like an hour. Like I need a little stretch, or like when we sit down for the whole 3 hours and it's just like this sucks. Like I need to move. You need to do something that gets us interacting. Like in one of our courses, it's very much so just like sit down and I'm gonna talk to you. And it's just like I'm not retaining anything, but like if you had me doing like little activities or little group work and stuff where you're still teaching me the content and I'm still getting to like, for example, explore the curriculum, then I actually learn. But if you're just gonna say it to me, it's just gonna go right over my head. So I need the little breaks and to take deep breaths or walks. That's a good one. I didn't find I needed very many coping strategies in my placement. I feel like that was one of the advantages of a 7 and 8 class because they're the intermediate students. They have a lot of opportunity for like independent work. So you're not like needing to give them content the whole day. So you get little tiny breaks with that age group, which was why it was so nice to be in a 7 and 8 class. It's like a little sweet spot where you're still teaching the intermediate curriculum, but you get the older students. It was a nice little balance there.
Ellen, long day of 3 hour or 6 hours of class, or 8 hours of dealing with, what grade were you?
7, 8.
8 hours of dealing with grade 7, 8s. What'd you do when you went home?
So this is actually something I started doing during my master's. I treat my schoolwork like work, and I don't do it past 5:30. I set like that as a deadline for myself. Like you have to finish everything that was on your list by this time, and then I can go home, I can make dinner, I can just spend the rest of the night doing what I want to do. And it has given me a way better work-life balance. That wasn't always possible during placement because like school would end at 3 o'clock. I'd have to get home. By the time I get home, I'm like, okay, so now I have to prep for the next day. But one thing that I did do during my placement that helped me a lot with the time management is like be willing to ask your AT and other teachers to share resources with you, because teachers are often super willing to do that.
There's no point in making your these whole new lecture slides or something when they're already there. Like it doesn't matter that
you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
No.
Like probability is probability, right?
Yeah.
And so that did save me a lot of time. I had a very IEP heavy classroom, So most of the time that I spent at home prepping for the next day was like in differentiating the lessons that were shared with me for those students. But yeah, just being willing to ask, like, hey, do you have anything on this that would be really helpful? And most of the time people be like, oh, absolutely, let me share it with you.
Makes your life so much easier. I did a novel study, and we did The Giver, and the 5-6 teacher that was across the hall, she loved that book, and she was a grade 7-8 teacher for a long time, and she had like this binder like this thick of like
the giant binders they would have in their class.
It was like the holy grail for The Giver, and like it was like filled with like all these activities and stuff. I wanted to make my own chapter questions because it had been a while since I read the book, so it like forced me to like actually be familiar with the novel a little bit better. But she had all of these like amazing activities that were already planned. She had everything already printed out, so it was just like, I'm just gonna do this. Like it doesn't matter that it's not my content. I'm still the one teaching it.
We have about a couple minutes left before, you know, the sponsors run out of money and then we won't be funded anymore. But do you have any advice for future teacher candidates, briefly?
I would say just trust that you're doing okay. Like, it's really easy to get hung up. You're like, that lesson didn't go as planned. You know, like today, everything kind of like, can I swear on this? Can I say went to shit? Okay, like everything kind of went to shit. But like, be like, but it's fine. Like, I'll change it for next time, right? So just kind of trust that you're doing okay and that you are still learning. So sometimes like once we're in placement, we get into this idea that like now I have to be teacher role. It's like you're still a student. And there is room for you to make mistakes, and that is why you have an AT there to help catch you when you do. So yeah, just like trust that this is the learning process and that you're still on that, and that it's okay if things don't go perfect every time.
That was wonderful. I don't think I can.
Perfect. All right. Do you want to shout out and determine who the next guests will be?
I would like to hear Kyle do a podcast.
I'm gonna shout out Greg. So Greg and Kyle, you're next.
They've been challenged. All right. Thank you so much for listening or watching this second episode of Keeping Up with Consecutive. Thanks to Mattea and Ellen for being a part of it and providing your wealth of knowledge that I'm sure everybody will love to hear. All right, that's about it. Thanks.